All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another WNBA regular season video, but this one's a special one. We are going to talk about All-Star Weekend that's starting tomorrow, Friday, and then we have the All-Star Game on Saturday. We're going to talk about everything that's going on, the events, the jerseys, some stuff going on about All-Star Weekend. We're also going to do a little recap of the regular season thus far. When we come back from All-Star break, there will only be 17 games left. So not a lot of basketball left in the regular season, but we are halfway through, so I would like to do a little recap, just a small one. And yeah, if you like what I've said, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So this would be a little bit of a shorter video. Just want to hop on here, talk to you guys about All-Star Weekend. Talk about, there are two events. The other one's just like a throwaway event. I don't really care about it. I care about the three-point contest. I care about the All-Star Game. So I will do some predictions, maybe. And then I want to talk about the jerseys a little bit and talk about some stuff surrounding the three-point contest as well. So let's talk about the actual All-Star Game, because we do have a development in the All-Star Game. All-Star Kelsey Plum, middle right of your screen. Her name's right there. She has been injured, I guess, like the last month now, month and some change. And we didn't know if she was going to play in the All-Star Game, whether she wasn't. She's not going to play in the All-Star Game, and she has been replaced by Kalia Copper. So add Kalia Copper to the team in orange. We're going to call them Team Orange and Team Blue because I cut off the names when I was trying to make this graphic, so of the actual team names. But yeah, so Team Orange will consist of the starters: Paige Beckers, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Cloud, Gabby Williams. And the starters for Team Blue will be Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, Olivia Miles, Aaliyah Boss, and Jessica Shepard. I said in my original video when I talked about the selections and everything, and we got the full teams of the starters and the reserves, I said I like Team Blue a lot more than Team Orange. And I still hold that thought and that opinion that this Team Blue is a lot better, I think. They have more size. They have more players that do more things, I think. Like, adding Kalia Copper to Team Orange really doesn't change anything for me. I mean, I like Natasha Howard in the starting lineup for Team Orange. I like Gabby Williams in the starting lineup. The backcourt for Team Blue is a little and then obviously I think, are they gonna start Jess Shepard at the 5? No, they're probably gonna start her at the 4. So she's gonna be guarding like Brianna Stewart or something, or maybe even Natasha Howard. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting what the matchups are and how hard they play in this game. But that being said, still, I'm gonna take Team Blue simply because I do like their bench more. Ryan Howard, tall, shifty guard. Alicia Gray, tall, shifty guard. Kiki, Nneka, Jonquel Jones. I just like that better than Angel Reese, Jackie Young, Sonia Citron, Kalia Copper, Dominique Malanga, and Marina Mabury. If I had to go for like player for player, just like thinking about it, I like Marina, I like Angel, I like Dominique, obviously I like Jackie, I like Sonia. But like in a game scenario with the rotations, perhaps it's really Marina, Angel, and Dom that are the main like off the bench pieces for me when I'm thinking about potential lineups. And then for the blue team, Howard, Gray, Kiki, Nneka, Jonquel Jones. I feel like the blue team just has so much more players that are actually going to play. Now, are they going to have more of an impact? Maybe. And you also have to think about how many minutes the starters are going to play. Like, is there a world in which, obviously, Caitlin Clark's starting, but at the end of the game, maybe they go Alicia Gray instead, or maybe they go Courtney Williams instead. I'm not saying they would bench Caitlin Clark in that scenario, but there's also another world where maybe Natasha Howard isn't playing at the end of the game for Team Orange. Maybe it's Dominique, or maybe Kalia Copper's playing instead of Kelsey Mitchell. There are these thoughts that go through my head that if it's a close game at the end, that are the coaches going to make the real coaching decisions and be like, yeah, we got to take this player out at the end of the game because they're a defensive liability, and we really want to win this game. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. Now, for some other fun stuff that I think is gonna happen, will there be a dunk in this game? Will there be another? This is my prediction. Actually, let me roll it back. My prediction is that the blue team will win this, and they'll win it by 10 or less points. I think 10 or less. I don't think they win by 10 or more. I think it's 10 or less. So that's my prediction for this Team Blue win in 10 or less points. And then another prediction or another possible thing that could happen that I want to think about is, will there be a dunk in this game? The only person that's really able to dunk? No, actually Kiki can dunk. Yeah, Kiki, it's up to Kiki and Dominique to dunk the ball. Can they do it? Ooh, I think there will be an opportunity for Dom to dunk the ball. I think at some point she's gonna get a switch. It's gonna be in transition where Olivia Miles is standing underneath the basket. It's Courtney Williams underneath the basket, and Dom is just gonna go right past him or go through him and dunk the ball. I think that could totally happen. Um, will Angel Reese get 20 plus rebounds in an All Star game? Is another question I have. Even though she's coming off the bench, will she get 20 plus rebounds? Because they be throwing up shots in the NBA All Star game and in WNBA All Star. Sometimes they're just throwing up shots, and a lot of missed shots means a lot of rebound opportunities for Angel Reese. Will there be 20 plus rebounds in this game for Angel Reese? Um, maybe, maybe. I don't know. I feel depending on when she comes into the game, if she has to play against Asia, Aaliyah, and Jess, Asia, Aaliyah, and Jess are such good rebounders as well. I don't think Angel Reese can handle all three of them. Maybe just two of them. All three of them, I don't think so. And then obviously you have the tall guards too, like Ryan, Alicia Gray, and then you have NECA down there as well. Obviously Kiki. What's the? Um, I also want to think about, could the most points in an All Star game record be broken in this All Star game? So I think it's like 50 something or 40. I'm gonna look it up right now. Oh, here we go. Wait, I put NBA. I need WNBA. Oh no, it's not 50. It's 36. Nafisa Kalia holds the records for most points in an All Star game, 36 points in 2025. So last year, yeah. Not last year. No, that was the year before that, right? No, no, that was last year. So I have it up here actually. So it's 36 is the all time single most points in an All Star game. And then the top five is that belongs to Nafisa Kalia, the 36. It's 34 for Enrique. It's 31 for Brianna Stewart. It's 31 for Jewel Lloyd, and it's 30 for Kelsey Plum, who's done it twice as well. Um, is that back to back year? Yeah, back to back years, 30. Can somebody score? Can somebody? Let's switch the question. Can somebody at least get into the top five in this game? With the amount of talent we have, with the 3 point shot, can somebody get to 30? I I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a very well-rounded effort from everybody. If I had to like pick somebody, it's just going to sound really obvious and sound really boring. Possibly Olivia Miles. I do want to give my girl Leah Boston the shout out that maybe she'll be able to get 30 or 30. Yeah, 30 is the breakthrough point to get to at least into the top 10 or the top 5. Um, mm, Marina Mabury, I mean, she can catch fire. Marina Mabury. I don't think any of the bigs could do it. I think there's too much big on big action. Like there's too much. Uh, it's too crowded down there for either one of the bigger players on both teams to get to 30. I don't think. I don't think any of the bench players either. Like I don't think Dom's ready to do that. Angel's not ready to do that. Jackie hasn't been having a great season, but you never know. Maybe she could catch fire. Sonia, she would need to play a lot. I don't think they're gonna play her a lot, unfortunately. Alicia Gray, has Alicia Gray done it? I feel like Alicia Gray should be on this list somewhere. She hasn't. Oh, she hasn't. Interesting. I'm gonna go players that could be on at least 30 point watch. Marina Mabrey, Olivia Miles, Alicia Gray, maybe Paige, maybe Kelsey Mitchell. I'm gonna stick with those three: Miles, Gray, and Marina Mabrey. Those are my three that could potentially get to 30. Now, the next question, like we originally said, was could somebody break the 36-point record? Because that's like what? That's three threes to break the record if you're already at 30, or it's going down at the beginning of a game and really being in your bag mid range, layup, stuff like that. Um, this is gonna sound. This is you guys are gonna hate me because this sounds so boring. It's such a typical pick. I'm gonna maybe say Olivia Miles. It's gonna be Olivia Miles or Alicia Gray. It has to be somebody on this team, on the blue team, because Caitlin Clark's a willing passer. Aisha Wilson's a willing passer. Aaliyah Boston's a really good passer, and Jess Shepard is a supreme passer now. I think one of these guards on the blue team is going to benefit from all four of those forward/centers crowding attention down low and kicking it out to them for open shots. I think I think that's something that's entirely possible, for sure. Um, any other things that I think could happen? Maybe let's ask the question most threes in a WNBA All Star game. Let's see. Is that something that it's definitely something we track. Let's see. Most 3-pointers in a WNBA All Star game. Hitting 7 3-pointers by Jewel Lloyd. That's the most right there. 7 3-pointers in an All Star game. Could somebody hit 8? Could somebody tie it? Well, first off, could somebody tie it? Here's the thing. I'll say this about two players on Team Blue. Three actually. We could say three. It could be Caitlin Clark, it could be Ryan Howard, it could be Courtney Williams. All three of those players are somewhat inconsistent sometimes when it comes to their threes. So either they're gonna make 7 and not be able to make the eighth, or they're going to like over surpass the 7 and get to like 10 or something. I don't think there's a world in which like one of these players, well, maybe there is, where they get to like 6. Because if you got 6, you might as well just try to go for 7, and then you start like overthinking it and you start missing the shots. I think it could be one of these three players. So Caitlin Clark, Ryan Howard, Courtney Williams, maybe could get there. Now I'm going to shout out Sonia Citron, who isn't necessarily the best 3-point shooter, but given the right moments, perhaps she could get close to 7. Maybe. I could also see maybe Kelsey Mitchell doing it, but I feel like Kelsey. I feel like there's an. Kelsey might have to shoot a bunch of threes, considering that Paige is going to be in the mid range, Brianna Stewart's going to be in the mid range. Hell, maybe even Gabby Williams could do it. Yeah, so give me the three. Give me Caitlin, Ryan, and Courtney to do it for Team Blue, possibly. Give me Kelsey Mitchell and give me Sonia Citron. And I would be mistaken not mentioning Marina Mabrey, but I feel like this is her first All Star game. I don't feel like you break that sort of record in your first All Star game. I feel like it happens after you make it a couple times and you're comfortable with that, you know? But Marina Mabrey has been playing in front of huge crowds, so maybe she's used to it. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'm not going to mention Marina Mabrey, though, because that one's kind of duh, of course, maybe. But yeah, I think that's all the predictions and stuff. Now, to talk about 3-point shooting. We have the 3-point contest. We got them announced a couple days ago. We did not talk about it on this channel, so let's talk about it. For the Portland Fire, it's on the top left side of your screen. For the Portland Fire, we're going left to right. We have Bridget Carlton. For the Dallas Wings, we have AZ Fudd. For the Seattle Storm, we have Natisha Heidemann. From the Atlanta Dream, we have Ryan Howard. On the Toronto Tempo, we have Marina Mabrey. And from the Golden State Valkyries, we have Janelle Salon. Now, the 3-point contest is different than actually being in the All-Star game and making threes, because you can get in a rhythm when you're in the All-Star game. For a lot of these players, it's going to be the first time they're shooting off a rack, like picking up the ball and shooting it. You can take one dribble if you want to. It doesn't happen a lot. It's usually pick up the ball, fire, pick up the ball, fire, and they're gonna have like the whatever it's gonna be called this year. The what's it called? The starry 4 point shot, the Sprite 4 point shot, whatever it's called. The State Farm 4 point shot, the Ally 4 point shot. It could be whatever it's called. There's gonna be two of those probably. So you're gonna have was it one, two, three? Was it is it one, two, three, four? I think it's 5 or 6 zones from the regular three, and then there's the additional. There's one shot from each of the 4 point zones. So who do this isn't a indictment of any of these players are bad shooters. This is such a different format to what they're used to. A lot of players are used to catching it from off the bounce from a teammate just right in their hands. It's different going into the motion from picking up the ball, getting ready, firing it, and the clock's ticking down always. And you have to get to the last rack because if you don't get to the last rack and you haven't made every other shot um, up until that point, you're not going to win. So, who do I think is going to be the best shooter in this 3 point contest that can pick up the ball, get in their shot, hit it, and rinse and repeat over and over and over again? Who do I think that could be? Let's start with the people I don't think it could be. I'm the one I'm mixed on is Ryan Howard. I feel like Ryan Howard is so inconsistent just making her shots in the flow of a game that maybe not being in the flow of the game could be positive or it could be negative. I do like her 3 point shot a lot. I don't feel like it takes a lot of time to load up. I think I'm going to put Ryan Howard as my wild card. I get one wild card, so Ryan Howard's my wild card. Now, the obvious ones that I think a lot of people will be voting for, thinking that could win, is obviously AZ Fudd, Natisha Heidemann, Marina Mabrey. Uh, I don't think Natisha Heidemann's built for this sort of 3 point shootout. I really don't. I think she's surprised a lot of people this season with her play, just throughout the games that she's played for the Storm. I don't think this is her sort of thing. I don't. And you can come back to this video and we can all laugh at me. I'll laugh at myself that if she wins this, I'll be like, oh yeah, I said so much stuff about that she can't do it. I just don't. I don't feel like her shot. I'm imagining her shot in my brain right now, her 3 point shot. It just doesn't feel like it's a good shot that you can pick a ball off a rack, and fire. It just doesn't feel like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Now the other two that are remaining, AZ Fudd, Marina Mabrey. I feel like Marina Mabrey is the most equipped to do this. Perhaps I don't I don't know if she's because I feel like a lot of her shots when she's had her 3 points explosion, her 3 point explosions have been like off the dribble, two dribbles past the two dribbles past the half court line, fire, right? That's really not what the uh, what the 3 point contest is. So I think I'm gonna have her at three. Like she's my third pick out of the top three that could win this. I think it's really close personally. I think it's really close between Bridget Carlton and AZ Fudd because all they do really is catch and shoot. That's all they do. I'm not saying that not saying that's all they can do, but that's what they've been doing a majority of the season. So they're used to it. They're used to at least catching it and just being already in position and firing, you know? I'm trying to think about this. I feel like AZ Fudd has improved a lot just in the short time she's been in the WNBA, just with the confidence part of it. I'm trying to think because there's so many like well, I'll use rookie, but like fresh new faces in this contest that they've never done this before. So like it could be nerves, it could be they didn't get enough time, in the setup leading up to the 3 point contest because these 3 point contest participants do get some court time to get used to bringing the ball off the rack, getting in their motion. There's a lot of things that play in part to this. I don't want to be boring, and I don't want to be boring and just pick AZ Fudd because I feel like everybody's gonna pick AZ Fudd to win this. I'm gonna pick Bridget Carlton, just a slight edge, just the slightest edge, just very slight. It'd be interesting to see because I know they do this. They've been doing this stuff recently, and they do it at like McDonald's All American when they do that when the players coming from high school into college. I wonder if they have a 3 point contest, and if Azia has ever done a 3 point contest before. Because if she has, I'm gonna pick AZ because that skill is invaluable. But if AZ hasn't, I'm gonna go Bridget, and my pick is gonna be Bridget. So my top three are Bridget, AZ, Marina Mabrey. My wild card is Ryan Howard, and no offense to Miss Salon, um, quite frankly, I can't even imagine her 3 point shot, and I've watched a lot of Valkyrie's games. I just can't. In my mind, I can't even picture a shot, so I don't want to say anything like negative or positive because I just haven't seen it. I can't even think about her 3 point shot. So um, if you want to, I guess she would be my fourth. Yeah, but yeah. So Bridget Carlton, I think will win. So if you're playing along at home, I have the blue team winning by 10 or less points, and I have Bridget Carlton winning the 3 point contest. And lastly, here, oh wait, or should we talk about? We should probably talk about. Okay, so listen, there's some stuff going on with the 3 point contest. You might notice there aren't a lot of familiar names here. In years past, there's been the names of Kayla McBride, uh, Caitlin Clark, who was supposed to do it last year, but she was injured last year, so she didn't do it. Sabrina Ionescu, who was invited and declined. We'll get to that. So you get a bunch of new faces in the 3 point contest, which I like. And then afterwards, after this was announced, there was some drama going on about, Caitlin Clark not doing it because people like Caitlin Clark's afraid to shoot. She's not a great shooter. She doesn't want to get embarrassed, this, that, and the third. I don't care. Listen, my thought process on WNBA players doing the 3 point contest, NBA players doing the dunk contest, because they're both the high, the dunk contest used to be the highlight of the NBA All Star Weekend. It's not so much anymore, but it used to, right? This is like, was it 10 years ago? 15 years ago was the highlight of All Star Weekend. It isn't anymore. It hasn't been for a while. But the 3 point contest is still a very important thing to the WNBA All Star Weekend, and people are complaining about stars not wanting to do these contests for either league. And I'll say this. I'll say my piece on this Caitlin Clark thing, and then we'll move on. My piece on this is the nonchalant persona for a lot of these NBA players, WNBA players, has infected their ability to be humiliated. And by humiliated, I mean Caitlin Clark could do this one year. She could do it next year, right? Or 2 years from now. And she could miss every one of her shots. Are people going to think less of her? Yes. Those people that already dislike her will think less of her. Yes. And they'll be like, see, we told you she's a bad 3 point shooter. Now, if she doesn't and she wins it, what are those people going to say? They're not going to say anything. They're going to remain silent and be, oh, it's just a 3 point. She can't do it in a game. They'll keep flipping the narrative because that's what people do. That's what these small peanut brain people do on the internet. For clicks and stuff. My point in bringing up the dunk contest as well is, what megastar has never done a contest? Well, he did one contest, but it was never done like an actual contest throughout his career. It's LeBron James. And I'm not trying to bag on LeBron James. LeBron James refused to do the dunk contest. There was one year where it got really close to being done. I believe it was T-Mac, Vince, Kobe, and it was going to be LeBron. I forget what year that was, but it was close to happening. It just never happened. LeBron has never done it. And by LeBron not doing it, LeBron inadvertently infected everybody else of everybody that was under him in the star like tier list, right? Like NBA All Star, NBA All NBA player, right? Whatever, right? He unknowingly infected everybody for the next for the next decade, for the next like decade and a half of like, if LeBron's not doing it, I don't have to do it, you know. And then more recently, you get people like John Morant not doing the dunk contest, Zion Williamson not doing the dunk contest, and I feel like the WNBA is falling into the same traps where their star players just don't want to do this because one, like I said, probably don't want to be embarrassed, but two, they're like, well, if he's not doing it, I don't have to do it. Why should I do it if X player hasn't done it? Um, and there is something to be said of you need to set the example for the next generation that, hey, I do this for fun. I'm not going out there to win this, whatever, whatever. It's just fun. It's All Star Weekend. Nobody cares, right? These records aren't really kept close. Um, that's my piece on the Caitlin Clark thing. Where you know who her favorite player is? LeBron James. So I can see why Caitlin doesn't want to do that, and she can look at the men's game, the men's All Star Weekend, saying if LeBron is not doing the dunk contest, I don't have to do the 3 point contest. You know, um, LeBron made it cool not to try. We'll put it that way. And LeBron has done a lot of great things for this league, but the one thing I'll always hold against him is making it cool not to do things for the league. Like it's all about me, 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 me. It's all about me. I'm the center of attention. I'm the center of the universe, and it's true. He is at this point, and it shouldn't be that way because this is a whole tangent about the NBA not moving on to their next star, but they're still holding on to the Kevin Durant, the LeBron Jameses, the Steph Currys, as the cornerstones of this league, and um, yeah, that's a whole different rant there. But that's my piece on the Caitlin Clark stuff. Where my personal opinion is, would I like her to do it personally? Yes. Maybe would I like her to do it at NBA All Star Weekend? Perhaps. Alongside Steph Curry and the likes of those guys. Would I? Will she ever do it? I think in a world where, in the perfect world, in Caitlin's mind, and I'm just like hyper analyzing her, she would need to be having an incredible season up until this point at 1 year. Number one team in the East, number one team in the league, really great numbers. She's feeling really confident. I would think she would do it. But if there's anything that doesn't hit those markers for her, I don't think she ever does it. I just don't see it happening. And to be quite honest, the reality of it is she's been so injury prone these last 2 years, and she's still dealing with some of the ailments. I don't think she wants to do it if she's not 100%. Because then if she comes out after the 3 point contest and say, yeah, I wasn't 100%, people are gonna be like, oh, she's making excuses. These same people. Yada yada yada. Now, moving on to the other person that was supposed to do this. Well, two other people were supposed to do this, or should have been offered to do this because they've been offered to do it in years past. Kayla McBride, a notable 3 point shooter, very good, said on Instagram, she posted a story saying like she never got an official invite, this, that, and the third. Not that I'm afraid of shooting. I would never be afraid of shooting in this sort of contest. They just never invited me. Whatever, whatever, right? That's one thing. The other thing that came out was Sabrina Ionescu left a comment on an Instagram post where they were talking about what we're talking about right now, where the players didn't get invited, or the certain players didn't get invited, or the players that declined. Caitlin Clark, for transparency, declined. She actually declined. She didn't want to participate this year. Kayla McBride, like we said, not officially invited, but or never extended an official invite. But if she got extended the official invite, she would have done it. And then the Sabrina one's interesting because she said, "I never got an official invite." And then she followed it up with a couple hours later, or maybe even like 24 hours later, where she said they went through my management, her agent and her agency and stuff like that. And it never got to her, right? So it's Sabrina heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody else in her agency who heard it from the WNBA league office. And then the WNBA came out and said like, we told your agency, we didn't do anything wrong as usual, backtracking. So it's a whole mess for Sabrina. The Sabrina one's actually super interesting because it's like she said she would want to do it in the WNBA, but since they didn't invite her, maybe she'll do it at NBA All Star Weekend with Steph again. So there's that little dig right there. Um, do I think Sabrina should do it, or what do I think about this? I think it's just all messy. I think it's just typical WNBA stuff, reacting instead of being proactive with these things. Um, I sort of get it though from the WNBA perspective, where like you go to a player's agent, right, and you're like, hey, do you think she'd want to do this? And the agent obviously told the WNBA no, or probably not. And then the WNBA was like, well, her agent said no, so I guess we're not going to ask her. And then they just didn't ask her. They didn't ask the person who actually participated in it, and it got sort of misheard. You know, it was a game of telephone from like the WNBA league office, which it shouldn't be. Um, my opinion, should Sabrina do it? And Sabrina just had a crazy game last night, right? Yeah, like 9 points in the last like 40 seconds of a game. And I'm gonna sound crazy when I say this. I don't think I feel like Sabrina's star power has like dwindled so much because of like the influx of like really good guards over the last couple years. Caitlin Clark, Paige Becker is going to keep coming. There's going to be Juju Watkins eventually. There's Hannah Hidalgo. There's a bunch of these other players, you know, that are coming, and Sabrina's just going to keep fading further and further into the back of the spotlight, you know, into the back of the stage. And her spotlight is still very enormous because she's in New York and she's still very talented. But I think Sabrina's done enough. I don't think she needs to. She's already won twice, right? And she's like the defending champ. She's won twice. She doesn't need to do it anymore. I don't understand the reason why they wouldn't at least attempt to get her back. It's strange to me on the WNBA side, but if I'm Sabrina, I understand her speaking her piece and her wanting to just get her side of the story out there, but I think it's unnecessary. You just don't need to do the 3 point contest anymore. Unless somebody comes along and is like a really supreme 3 point shooter and you gotta like come out of retirement, so to speak. I don't think she needs to do it anymore. And I think we're at the point where we just need to keep cycling in these new names because I think that's even more exciting than getting a Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu. Now, lastly, here before we get out of here, I do want to talk about the jerseys here at the end. Oh, we have to do a little recap, right? I'm just gonna go through the standings with you guys. That's all I'm gonna do. We'll do an official recap when we get the season started back up. But the jerseys, the jerseys here. I'm not gonna say it. If you can't see it, these jerseys are sort of like they're blobby, if that makes sense. Like they're like blobs. It looks like a lava lamp almost with like the different colors, like light blue to dark blue. For the for the red ones, it's orange and pink, and it's like fading in and out. The only thing I'll say about this that I like is that they're doing a blue jersey, and some of these players on the blue team have never worn like this sort of blue jersey. I'm so excited to see some of these players in this colorway and see their shoes and see what they do in these jerseys because I think they're going to look awesome. Otherwise, I'll say this, and this might be a hot take. WNBA, can we stop with the orange? We've done orange too many times now. We've done every variation of orange we could possibly do. Let's move on to a different colorway. Let's move on to like actually making these all-star jerseys like city coherent, you know, like if we're doing I'm just thinking of like Las Vegas a couple years ago. Let's do like red and gold, you know. Let's do red and let's do like poker chips. Let's do green, white, and red. You know, let's do something cool. Let's stop with like these bland ass jerseys. And it's not so much on the WNBA. It's on Nike, and Nike's been slacking on some of these WNBA All Star jerseys. I feel like I've seen this before. It's just like in a different. It's like copy my homework. Just don't just change it a little bit. And I'm sick and tired of the orange and red. I'm sick of it. The blue I like. I like the blue more. If I was in the market for a jersey, I get a blue jersey. But um, yeah, I just don't like these. I feel like it's too bland. Even if the shorts are cool, no. Um, it's not even it didn't even say All Star Game Chicago. It's just WNBA All Star. Like there's no demarcation that obviously the court is gonna say Chicago All Star Game hopefully, but like it doesn't even say Chicago on the jersey. Like, come on, let's stop being so lazy with this stuff. That's my piece on that. Let's move on to the standings here. Let's quickly talk about that. As we head into All Star break, are there games tonight? Oh my god, I didn't even check if there were games tonight. Not that these standings are gonna change too much, but they might. We got one game. Oh no, there's no games. We're done. No more games. That's it. Awesome. So at All Star break, as of today, what's today? Today is the 23rd. Leading the WNBA and their All Star just returning, Nafisa Collier. She returned last game last night. Played pretty well. The Minnesota Lynx are leading the WNBA 22-6. That's 22 wins and 6 losses. The Valkyries are behind them at 19-8. The Las Vegas Aces are behind them, number 3, 18-8. Dallas Wings, number 4, 18-5. Indiana Fever right there below the Wings, 17 and 10. Atlanta Dream below the Fever, 16 and 10. New York Liberty spiraling a little bit, 15 and 12, and then the Washington Mystics, 14 and 12. So let's see this: one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So yeah, right now, if the playoffs were to start today, the Washington Mystics would make it with a record of 14 and 12, and they would play the Minnesota Lynx. That'd be a great series. I would love to see that. Golden State Valkyries would play Liberty. That sounds great. Atlanta Dream would play the Aces. Oh boy. Oh boy. And then the Indiana Fever would play the Dallas Wings. Oh, I'd pay to see that. That'd be incredible. Um, but yeah, these are your top 8 teams. These are the right now, as of now, unless well something is going to happen, but these are the playoff bound teams. Are all these teams legit? Yes. I still think these top 3 teams, Lynx, Valkyries, Aces, are the teams to beat. There's no other team. All 3 of these teams are in the echelon above. I don't care what the record says, if it changes. All 3 of these teams are in a league of their own. And then you have everybody else. So Wings, Fever, Dream, Liberty, Mystics, Fire, Tempo are closely following behind the Mystics. I feel like all those teams, maybe I feel like the Dream and the Wings are in the second tier, and then it's Dallas, New York, and then whatever the 8 seed's going to be is like the third seed. Um, in my mind, thinking about their rosters and thinking about what they're doing. Do I have anything to say about this top 8? I mean, the Lynx are just way better than I thought they would have been. I thought Olivia Miles would take some time to adjust. Hasn't needed time to adjust. I didn't think Nafisa Kali would play at all this season. She came back. She's gonna be ready for the last 17 games of the season. I'm blown away by them. So I have nothing to say but positive things. We'll put it that way. The Golden State Valkyries. I feel like the Golden State Valkyries play a brand of defense that is so annoying that in the playoffs there was going to be like a hate thread about them on Threads or like Twitter or something. People are gonna be upset with the Valkyries. The Aces. All I have to say about the Aces, who the team I root for, um, doing better than last year. Yep, that's all that matters. This time last year they were like the 7 or 8 seed, so doing better than last year. Bringing along some real other players after the departure of Kennedy Carter. You have Justine Piscott. You have I'm forgetting the other player's name that they got from the Sparks. Um, you bring in a lot of interest. You bring in the player from the Japan national team that they played in preseason. The Aces are slowly building up to right where they want to be to go full gas on these last 17 games. Dallas Wings. Uh, let me say this: the Wings, Fever, and Liberty all have sort of the same problems where the coaching at times not so great. There are hit or misses, but the star power of the team just is so overwhelming that I don't think any of these teams drop out of the playoffs. I think they're right there. The Atlanta Dream are very good. I think they're way better than their record says. The only thing I'm waiting for is for the Atlanta Dream to prove it in the playoffs because last year they got dog walked by the Fever. Um, and I feel like this team, this Atlanta Dream team, I said at the beginning of the season, I'll say it again because it's been true. I don't feel like the mental toughness is there. I feel like this group needs a year and a half together to really build that mental toughness as a group. I feel like this team is too reactive to stuff. They complain too much. Um, they get into unnecessary foul trouble. They get unnecessary technicals. They do unnecessary mistakes as well. And this is the team that's like has the least synergy together. Like they're the newest formed team. You know, the roster, which is expected. You expect that sort of newly formed roster to make those mistakes. But I feel like the playoffs are going to be a huge tell for them. Huge tell. So I'm not going to talk about them too much. The Liberty, the coaching. I like Coach Chris DeMarco. I think he's fine. I just feel like the expectations are so high for this Liberty team because they're like win now mode. Like there's no like backup plan. They're winning now or it's over. You know, the roster's going to explode. Um, I feel like that's such an unfair situation for Chris DeMarco to be in that if he does anything except get to the finals, it's considered a failure of a season. And that's so much weight and the injuries that they've been dealing with again to their role players. The big three's been healthy for the most part. Can the big three at their age, mostly being John Cole Jones and Breonna Stewart, beat some of these younger teams? Like if they have to play the Fever, if they have to play the Wings, if they have to play the Minnesota Lynx, who are young and old at the same time, if they have to play the Golden State Valkyries, I don't know if they can keep up with those teams. And then the eighth seed, the wild card spot, being either any one of these teams. I mean, anything's possible, right? Anything's these teams that are closer to the eighth seed than being below 10 wins. Um, Washington, Portland, Toronto, Sparks, Mercury. I feel like Sparks and Mercury, Los Angeles Sparks, Phoenix Mercury, just out of it. I don't feel like there's a world in which they can confidently get into the playoffs. It'd be a situation where it's like the last 3 games of the season and they're jockeying for position. I feel like that's the only way. I feel like the Portland Fire have some momentum, some really good momentum. The Mystics obviously have the most supreme momentum going into this All Star weekend. They just beat the Lynx and the Aces in close succession. And then the Toronto Tempo. The Toronto Tempo is the most wild card. I could see them dropping, or I could see them doing very well, and possibly even making the playoffs. We'll see there. I want to see them get Brittany Sykes back. We'll see what happens there. And then the teams under 10 wins, which is the demarcation for being really bad and not not a winning season. Seattle Storm, they're rebuilding. We've talked about it many times. I talked about it all last year. I wanted them to go into this rebuild, and this is where I wanted them to be exactly. To be somewhat competitive, to just be in some of these games. The record's gonna be god awful, but at least the team is getting run in together, and they have their big three of Flage, Dominique Malonga, Awa Pham. They've brought it all together, and they're gonna continue to build that young core. Connecticut, they're moving to Houston next year, so they're not really playing for anything. This is the farewell season for the Connecticut Sun, and we're halfway through that, so it'd be sad to see this franchise go, but they will be going to Houston. And then a team with a bunch of vets, um, seemingly that are the second most fake contenders of them all, behind the Sparks. There's always so much going on with the Chicago Sky. Their practice facility isn't done. They don't have an All Star for their own All Star weekend. Skylar Diggins is unhappy. Um, the coach Tyler Marsh is trying his best, but the team just doesn't seem to gel. The only bright spot is Sydney Taylor, who I love as a player. She's incredible. Um, yeah, and the worst part of it is the Washington Mystics have a swap, and they can swap their pick with the Chicago Sky. Yep. So the Chicago Sky being bad for no reason. So if the Mystics make the playoffs and they get that pick swap with the Chicago Sky, that would be the best outcome for the Mystics, and that'd be the worst outcome for the Chicago Sky. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. I did it to myself once more. I said, yeah, this video is gonna be short, 40 minutes. Thank you for listening. If you listened this far into it, go enjoy All Star Weekend this weekend. I don't know if I have a video this weekend. Maybe, perhaps, maybe I'll take a break, enjoy All Star Weekend myself, and obviously when we come back, we will talk about WNBA All Star Weekend, how it went. We'll talk about some real deep diving into the last half of the WNBA season. And for my NBA people that love to listen to my NBA stuff, maybe we'll get the LeBron James announcement at some point next week. I hope, I pray, because I'm running low on content. I need stuff to talk about. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. The end screen should be playing right now. Check out the video on the left. Check out the playlist on the right. If you click my little icon right in the bottom middle of the screen, a little subscribe will pop up, and you can subscribe with ease, like, and comment as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.